I think we're so careful here not to go into the realms of just bashing capitalism, which is effectively what Polly has just been doing and what a lot of the protesters appear to be doing outside. Capitalism is the system which over the past century has every generation doubled people's wealth. It's the system which has put clothes on those people's backs, doubtless with designer labels as well. And we've got to be careful to not to condemn that system, but to look at specifically the regulatory framework around the City of London, which clearly wasn't right a few years ago. And the previous government needs to look at itself and ask questions as to whether it had done the right things in the city with regard to that. But as to the wider question, the people now protesting, evidently during the course of next week, will do far much better, far more good for the economy if they were to start working and doing something useful to get the wheels of the economy turning, rather than disrupting the City of London over the days to come.
How dare you say if they should be working? 1 million young people are out of work. A lot of them are graduates. A lot of them are willing to work as interns for nothing at all, with nowhere to live and no money to live on. The idea that these are idle, feckless, useless people. You call yourself the Taxpayers Alliance. If you stood for taxpayers, you'd be out there with them, campaigning against the amount of taxpayers' money that has been spent propping up banks that give nothing back, holding back their money, not lending to small businesses, as they said they would, quantitative easing, we're going to have another lot, all the money poured into their pockets, they hold on to it. It isn't about anti-capitalism, it's about bad capitalism. We know perfectly well that the countries with good capitalism, such as the Scandinavian countries, where there is very strict regulation, a much fairer distribution of wealth, also have much stronger economies than ours has ever been. We have one of the worst capitalist systems in the world. Because we've lost out in every way.
Perfect. I'm saying there has been problems with regulation over the last decade, but we need to look at those, work out what went wrong, and decide how to move forward from there, rather than being incredibly generalistic about bankers are greedy, capitalism is bad, and let's try and stop the system.
Jonathan Isabey,
we've had nothing from the Taxpayers Alliance except support for the very, very rich, support for the city, support for the big business that sponsors you, that pays for you because you're a Conservative Party front movement. We've had nothing from you about standing on the side of median families on median wages who are really, really suffering, and it really matters. And this is going to spark something much more than you quite realise.
Jonathan Isabey and Polly Toynbee, thanks very much. That's a good point to leave that there. Thank you both for giving us your views on this issue.
I think you have to look at who owns the food industry, and the pharmaceutical industry own the food industry. So the food industry wants to make you sick and ill by putting all these chemicals in that rot your body and make you ill. So they then can give you tablets to make you better, which don't, because it's all about Illuminati industries making money.
All about what?
Illuminati families making money in the world.
Oh, you perked up there, Rob. Illuminati families making money.
Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, to be honest.
But we gave our power away. We started not growing our own vegetables, started to give our power away to other people, saying, we'll make this food for you. You don't want to cook your own food? We'll make this for you. And then we didn't start questioning what's in this stuff, and they started putting all kinds of crap in it. I'm a raw foodist myself.
Language for a Sunday morning.
Goldman can be the first to rally hard enough to fix itself. I call it a virtuous circle that makes the stock even more attractive. Oh, by the way, I am part, just like when I always play with an open hand, I am part of the powerful cabal of ex-Goldman associates that controls the world, along with the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, and, of course, the Queen of England, not to say the Bavarian Illuminati. And you know what? The Bavarian Illuminati, the Trilateral Commission, Goldman Sachs, and the Queen of England are not all bad.
Wow.
Tim Geithner is doing a good job. Again, is that terrible to say? Can't we just come out here occasionally? Can't I, as a commentator, and say, you know what, I'm impressed by what Geithner did.
But get a bodyguard.
I already have one. And I feel strongly that Geithner, this is AIG, Goldman, and you know what? The Bavarian Illuminati, the Trilateral Commission, Goldman of England are not all bad.
Wow. We got to squeeze a couple of things in.
Sure.
Would you ever put your own kid into the industry?
No, absolutely not.
Never?
Never. I believe that everybody in this world should have the freedom of choice.
And child stars don't?
Child stars have nothing. They have nothing. They have no choice. I was never taught how to have a family. I was never taught how to raise a child because I wasn't raised properly. I was never taught how to care for somebody because I was never shown genuine love. I was shown business. This is what you do. Here's how you read a contract. I knew how to read a contract by 10 years old, but I didn't know what it meant for somebody to come in and tell me they love me and kiss me goodnight. That's a problem.
How old were you when you made your first TV development deal?
19. My mother and my grandmother were freaked out. You know, I was the first person in my family not to go to college that had not been a slave.
Right.
So I was really breaking from tradition, and it was like a graduation lunch we were having, and they had my dad come and talk to me, and my dad takes me outside, and he's like, listen, and this is some advice that applies to all you acting students. He says, to be an actor is a lonely life. Everybody wants to make it, and you might not make it. And I said to my dad, well, that depends on what making it is, Dad. He was a smart-ass kid.
Yeah.
It depends on what making it is, Dad. He says, what do you mean? I said, well, you're a teacher. I said, if I could make a teacher salary doing comedy, I think that's better than being a teacher. And he started laughing. He said, if you keep that attitude, I think you should go. He said, but name your price in the beginning. If it ever gets more expensive than the price you name, get out of there. Mm-hmm. Thus, Africa. Oh, man. Yeah, you guys are going to learn a lot tonight.
What can they learn?
You know, like you guys are students now, so you're idealists, but you don't know about where art and corporate interests meet yet. Just prepare to have your heart broken. Like, in a way, you see him laughing, that evil laugh? Because he knows, man, and everybody laughs at me, but just get your Africa tickets ready, baby, because it's coming. It's coming. You have no idea.
When Martin Lawrence was in that chair, we talked about Blue Streak.
I love that dude.
He played a role in your life, I believe. How do you feel about him as a person, as an artist?
Martin Lawrence is the guy that showed everybody you can make it from D.C. to Hollywood. And I had a personal stake in his success. Every time he did something, it made me feel inspired and really good. And he was always real nice to me. He'd sit me down, what's going on with you, baby boy? What? We'd talk about comedy, whatever. And, you know, when we did Blue Streak, we were promoting it, and Martin had a stroke. He almost died. And then after that, I saw him, and I was like, oh, my God, Martin, are you okay? And he said, I got the best sleep I ever got in my life. That's how tough he is. So let me ask you this. What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, they are trying to kill me?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick. Oh, I'm dropping dimes tonight. I've had a long year, Mr. Lipton.
We're on our way. What did you mean, Dave, when you described your father's death in 1998 as the beginning of a terrible decline?
I was 23 when I was doing Half Baked. I was getting ready to turn 24. And I was going through all the things that a dude goes through when it goes from one level to the next. I was starring in a movie that I wrote. So things start getting crazy around you.
Yeah.
And my 24th birthday was coming on August the 24th, and I said, this is going to be a big one. And the morning that I turned 24, phone rang, and my sister was like, Dad had a stroke. For the next year, I watched my father teeter on life and death. And it was just all this stuff, man. Like Dad was down, the half-baked didn't come out the way I wanted it to come out. I was real upset about that. Because it was a real cool script, and then I saw it, I was like, hey man, you made a weed movie for kids. And it wasn't for kids, a script, you know. It was all these things, so much pressure. Africa. Then I was in Ohio. I get a call on my cell phone from Hollywood. I'm like, hello, Hollywood. They're like, hello, Dave. They're like, that pilot you did for Fox, looks like they want to pick it up. We need you to come out because they want to meet with you. And I was like, well, listen, I can't really come out right now. Got a real bad situation at home. Can we talk about this on the phone? No, they would rather meet with you in person. But you know, like the whore that they turned us into. I jumped on that plane and left my father's bedside, which I regret to this day. And I went out and I sat with these people in this room. And if you can imagine a large circle of people, and I was 12 o'clock, the black dude. Yeah, Dave, we really liked the show, but the pilot episode was about me getting booed off stage at the Apollo. They go, but what are we going to do about it? I mean, there's not really any white people in it. I said, well, it's about the Apollo. It's not really white. Well, we were thinking about the girl on the show. We didn't think she was that funny, not that good looking. I think we should recast her. Maybe, and they start using terms like universal appeal. Basically saying they want me to recast the girl with a white woman. I said, yeah, I don't think I can do this, and I quit. On the cover of Variety, Chappelle pulls the race card. The race card. And I get calls from Newsweek, 60 Minutes. Everybody, we want your story. Now I'm scared to death. I'm like Rosa Parks or something. I'm like, I'm not ready for this. I was just venting a little bit. And then, a few months later, Dad dies. And that's hard for a young dude in his life. That's a real tough loss. I was there when he died. And he went from being my father to what are we going to do with the body? Within moments, it was over. And I'm going through all this stuff, and this is the guy I would usually talk to, right? Dad. And I got to figure this out for myself. I don't want to figure this out for myself. I was beat down. I wasn't living right. You know what I mean? Like, the weed thing was just a bad habit at this point. And you know what I mean? All these, chicken head girls you mess with when it comes with the territory. I'm just being real. Just being real. Just wasn't living right, man. I didn't feel good. And the stand-up stuff was just some angry stuff. It was just like I was kind of bottoming out. But when my dad died, because I'd been commuting back and forth to Ohio so much, that's when I bought the farm, which I called the you Hollywood farm.
Did you stay in Yellow Springs for a while?
I live there to this day. I live there to this day. I'm raising my kids there. Look, man, at that point in your life, it's something so real in contrast to what Hollywood is, a very powerful illusion. And when your dad died, it kind of just broke the spell. Like, oh, this is bullshit. Look, I've been spending so much time doing this. What about my family? What about my friends? Wait, whatever happened to my friends? Damn, I don't even have any friends. Ugh. So I bounced, man. New Year's Eve, 1999, I moved into that farm, and that was it. As far as I was concerned, I was done with show business. Nobody knows. Nobody remembers that I walked away from the show twice last season. Nobody asked about Nobody asked about that. You know, in one of these magazines, Newsweek, it's a very credible magazine, and they're saying, you know, maybe I smoke crack, and it was all innuendo. And the magazine as credible as Newsweek, I was very surprised that this was happening. And then I got to make some real choices, man. Is that what I want for myself? Did I get too big? Because I like people. I like entertaining. And the higher up I go, for some reason, the less happy I am. You know, is it going to get to the point where I'm doing a striptease on TRL or waving a gun on the street, saying they're trying to kill me? No, I'm not going to let it get to that point. I'm going to go to Africa. I'm going to find a way to be myself, man. I gotta, you know, I'm an artist, man. I don't need a sneaker deal. I mean, I'd like one, but that's not the need that makes you guys go to school. You're not in this school right now because you want a sneaker deal. It'd be nice, but that's not why you're here, right? You're not here because, you know, you'd like to be in the movies, but to act or to entertain it's a need that maybe a lot of your friends don't even understand. But you got that need, and you have your dreams. And there's only 6 studios, man. There's only 6 agencies, man. This is a small, controlled thing, and I don't like having to beg for the spotlight, man. You know, the machine is good for us, and we good for the machine, and it should be fair, man. It should be fair.
What did you find in Africa that was an antidote to that?
In Africa? Well, a lot of things. First of all, I'm a Muslim. I don't necessarily practice the way a good Muslim is supposed to practice, but I believe in these tenets. And in Africa, there's a small community of people that don't know anything about the work I do, and they just treat me like I'm a regular dude. So I knew that in Africa I'd have a place to sleep, and that I wouldn't have to feel strange. And, you know, when they would call me crackhead and all these things in the country where I'm from, in Africa, they didn't know anything. They was feeding me and taking care of me and taking me to the mall and just regular stuff. And it just made me feel good. It just reminded me that I was a person, you know. I didn't even know they were saying those things about me. Then I call home, and people be like, "Oh my God, are you all right?" "Yeah, chill, I'm in Africa, baby. What's going on?" And then I got a call from a journalist that had been working on a story, and he was like, "Yeah, rumor mill's going on about you. Just want to clear a few things up." And I'm like, "Yeah, what's going on?" "Okay, do you smoke crack?" I said, "What? Do you smoke crack? Did you graduate from high school?" I mean, it was all these crazy questions. And I thought about never coming back. I said, this place is crazy. Like, I'm that dude. I just thought about all the things that celebrities go through and what celebrities become in our culture. You know, if you Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston and your marriage is breaking up, that's an awful thing. But to see that speculation in people gotta sting a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh my God, I'm one of those people. That's a small club, man. That's a weird place to be. Ain't really no going back. You can't get unfamous. You can get infamous. Right. But you can't get unfamous.
Right.
So I got scared. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I was scared to death. And I didn't touch the mic. But you know what was cool, man? The first time I went back out and did stand-up, I was in Cincinnati. So it's not far from the farm. I said, if I gotta run, I can get home fast. And club sold out real fast. I played a comedy club. And man, when I walked out on that stage and them people were screaming, I get teary-eyed just thinking about it. Because this industry can say whatever they want, but man, people will hold you up. And that crowd, man, my spirits were so low when they was just holding me up. And I hadn't told jokes, but this was just coming back like Karate Kid again. You're the best around. I was just doing it, man. don't know how this whole Dave Chappelle thing is going to end, but I feel like I'm going to be some kind of parable by either what you're supposed to do or what you're not supposed to. So I'm going to be something. I'm either going to be a legend or just that tragic f***ing story, but I'm going full throttle. I'm going all the way. I'm eager to find out how this will resolve itself.
You know, you have Chappelle's show, this almost like overnight success. Do you still feel that it was kind of maybe too much all at once, or do you feel that again with the decades worth of work that it was just?
Was it too much at once?
Or do you feel it was deserved? Which it was?
No, I deserved something. I mean, literally, deserve is deserved is a tough word, but the show it all seemed like a logical progression. You know, like, I could have pulled a LeBron and exploded when I was a kid, but it didn't happen that way, and I'm probably better for it. Like, had I got that kind of... I'm 32 and I went to Africa, so I can only imagine what would happen if I was like 19 and had Chappelle's show. Or if I could even handle it. It's a tremendous responsibility having a show like that. But everything's going fine, I think, till season 3. I mean, and it wasn't the fame that got to me. I love people. I like people saying that they like what I do, and you know, there's just a whole, you know, it's like an economic threshold you cross, man. You know, they had thrown out numbers like $50 million. You put that in the paper next to your name, then that guy's gonna have some serious problems in his personal life. There's no question. You know, I like to live a more open life. I don't like to have to protect myself from people. I don't want my life to become about enforcing boundaries, you know, but that's what happens when you become successful. Your humanity diminishes and you become something else to people. You ever see the cartoons where they're hungry and he looks over his buddy and his buddy look like a chicken dinner? That's kind of like, it's kind of like that. I think that America needs an honest discourse with itself. It's like the greatest country in the world by default. You know what I mean? But we could actually be the greatest country that ever existed if we were just honest about who we are and what we are and where we want to go, and if we learn how to have that discourse. Things like racism are institutionalized. It's systemic. You might not know any bigots. You feel like, well, I don't hate black people, so I'm not a racist. But you benefit from racism just by the merit of the color of your skin. There's opportunities that you have. You're privileged in ways that you may not even realize because you haven't been deprived in certain ways. We need to talk about these things in order for them to change.
Talking about the wider issues now.
Everyone's still yet to tell me why I'm an extremist and why I'm a bigot.
I'm just...
Why I'm racist. Please tell me what I've said. Please.
Okay.
This is the problem. Anyone with a different opinion
I'm saying that it's an upbringing. It's a matter of upbringing.
I had a good upbringing. I had a great upbringing. A perfect upbringing. Prior to the English Defence League, I had my own business, 2 businesses, one turnover £300,000 a year.
I don't care what your history is.
So this is not to do with people being on poverty lines. This is to do with serious issues within our community with militant Islam, extremist
Islam.
And as soon as you talk about it, everyone says you're racist.
I'd like to speak to this lady here, please.
You bring your agenda actually today. Well, my question is, what we say, like, can we say what the problem about what people when they see women wearing scarf? Is that something when they behave with her racism? Is that something coming about economy issue? I don't think so.
Well, I have no problem with the hijab
sorry,
either.
you have your agenda. You finish it. I don't know if you finish it or yeah. But I'm me from Hunter Spring. I've been here 2 years. Nobody sits with me in the bus or near than me because I'm wearing scarf. So can you explain for me how you guys what answering for that? Well, you can answer for that. He keeping talking that they have no racism. But that's not just Islamic for him. You have so much phobia, Islamic phobia,
actually.
actually.
You can't keep saying racist without giving me an explanation.
Listen,
please give me an explanation. Can I just say
At your rally in Newcastle, you stood next to the organiser while he was chanting,
complete lie.
send those...
No, complete
and
lie again.
I can't say it home.
Complete lie again. No, it's not on YouTube. No, it's not. It's an edited version. You don't see the person on the stage saying it. It's a lie. It's
So who's saying it?
No one says it. You've read it. Every time someone has their arm up in the air, you say it's a Nazi salute. Please, can someone tell me what we say that is racist?
No one is saying that, by the way.
No, can someone tell me what we say that's racist?
What you're doing is you're generalising.
We're highlighting truths.
You're generalising.
The truth is not a
about
lie.
a whole race
no, I'm not
of people.
generalising. No, I'm not.
Just on
I mentioned certain
that's
sex.
what's
I mentioned
racist.
certain sex.
This is exactly what I said at the beginning of the programme. When we deal with racism, rather than dealing with the structural reality and all this nonsense about people are racist because they're frustrated about their life, it's totally classist. What we're saying, only working class people are racist. Do me a favour. Racism was not invented by working class people. It was invented by elite academics through pseudo-scientific nonsense and perpetuated as part of political policy from the top down, not the bottom up. In fact, if we look back at the history of this country, when there were slave catchers in the streets, people had far more allies in working class parts of London than they did from rich people who were trying to catch them and send them back to the Caribbean. So let's be honest about the history and deal with the bigger problems of structural racism, because then smaller things and smaller frustrations that are breeding this type of nonsense won't be excavated so much. But this is the problem, is we focus on nonsense like this rather than dealing with why a British soldier you've probably never heard of, a gentleman called Christopher Alder, died in 1999 in police custody. There is footage on YouTube that you can see for yourself of him on the floor with his bottom half exposed, with police officers around him making monkey noises over his dead body. You've never heard his name. Why?
He blames the adults, not just those looking to profit from charming children, but also some with far more sinister motives.
I can tell you that the #1 problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia. That's the biggest problem for children in this industry.
The casting couch even applies to children.
Oh, yeah. Not in the same way. It's all done under the radar.
Nobody talks about pedophilia.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread?
Oh, yeah. I was surrounded by them when I was 14 years old. Surrounded. Literally. Didn't even know it. It wasn't until I was old enough to realize what they were and what they wanted and what they were about and the types of people that were surrounding me, till I went, oh my God, they were everywhere like vultures.
Vultures who Feldman says abused him and his best friend, the late child actor Corey Haim, his co-star in The Lost Boys.
Well, what happens if my mom is dating the head vampire?
Feldman says the trauma of that pedophilia contributed to Haim's death.
There's one person to blame in the death of Corey Haim, and that person happens to be a Hollywood mogul. And that person needs to be exposed, but unfortunately I can't be the one to do it. But the person that knows who did it and knows who he is watching right now, I guarantee you. Yeah.
Intriguing.
Yeah. There was a circle of older men that surrounded themselves around this group of kids. And they all had either their own power or connections to great power in the entertainment industry.
Feldman won't name names. And he admits his friend had a struggle with addiction, which he says was a mechanism to cope with his demons.
It was a symptom.
It was a symptom, correct.
Are we in it? In 2008, the two Coreys confronted each other on their reality show about the dark past they shared.
You let me get around in my life, man, raped, so to speak, when I was about 14 and a half, and I'm saying this right now. What'd you do, man, when you saw that going down when I was 14 to me? What'd you do? You knew about it.
You want to talk about the truth? Okay, well then let's talk about the truth. I was being molested at the same time by somebody else. What'd you do? You know, there's a lot of good people in this industry, but there's also a lot of really, really sick, corrupt people in this industry. And there are people in this industry who have gotten away with it for so long that they feel they're above the law. And that's got to change. That's got to stop.
Tom Watson. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The evidence file used to convict paedophile Peter Wrighton, if it still exists, contains clear intelligence of a widespread paedophile ring. One of its members boasts of his links to a senior aide of a former Prime Minister who says he could smuggle indecent images of children from abroad. The leads were not followed up, but if the files still exist, I want to ensure that the Metropolitan Police secure the evidence, re-examine it, and investigate clear intelligence suggesting a powerful paedophile network linked to Parliament and Number 10.
Well, the honourable gentleman raises a very difficult and complex case, and I'm not entirely sure which former Prime Minister he's referring to, but what I would like to do is look very carefully in Hansard as to the allegations that he's made, the case that he's raised, and look very carefully and see what the government can do to help give him the assurances that he seeks.
A 12-year-old secret report just leaked to the press confirms that a criminal gang of Freemasons basically runs the London Police Department, known as Scotland Yard. Operation Tiberius, written in 2002 and just leaked to the press, confirmed that the criminal brotherhood recruits corrupted police officers at will and proved to be, quote, the most difficult aspect of organized crime to investigate. Oh, I thought that was just a conspiracy theory. I thought that the Freemasons were just a fraternity of men who wanted to get away from their wives and do some community service. Back in 1998, the Home Secretary in London, Jack Straw, ordered that all police officers and judges declare whether they are members of the Freemason fraternity. However, 10 of Britain's police agencies, 10 of the 43 agencies, refused to take part in the policy, which was later dropped under the threat of legal action. Let's read what Manly P. Hall, Freemasons' greatest philosopher, according to the governing body of Freemasonry. Let's see what he has to say about this, community service group of just a bunch of men who like to get together and just hang out. Where in his book, Lectures on Ancient Philosophy, on page 433, which is a companion to his magnum opus, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, he wrote, quote, Freemasonry is a fraternity within a fraternity, an outer organization concealing an inner brotherhood of the elect. That means the special people, the enlightened ones. He goes on to say, quote, the visible society is a splendid camaraderie of free and accepted men enjoined to devote themselves to ethical, educational, fraternal, patriotic, and humanitarian concerns. The invisible society is a secret and most august fraternity whose members are dedicated to the service of a mysterious arcanum arcanorum. That means the secret of secrets. Oh, I thought that was just a conspiracy theory, that there was a group within Freemasonry operating. I guess these trained police officers who are trained to investigate crimes, I guess they must just be conspiracy theorists, right? Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Bavarian Illuminati, who really just organized and modernized this Illuminati organization back in the 1700s, late 1700s, wrote in his original writings that have been confiscated and admitted to be accurate and authentic that, quote, none is fitter than the lower 3 degrees of Freemasonry. And he's talking about for their criminal gang. Quote, the public is accustomed to it, expect little from it, and therefore takes little notice of it. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, especially interesting when the Bible of Freemasonry, Morals and Dogma, published in 1872, written by Albert Pike, where he wrote, quote, Masonry, like all religions, all the mysteries, Hermeticism, and alchemy, conceals its secrets from all except the adepts and the sages or the elect, and uses false explanations and misinterpretations of its symbols to mislead those who deserve, he says, to be misled, to conceal the truth which it, the Mason, calls light from them, and to draw them away from it. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, especially interesting that was on page 104 and goes over to page 105, by the way. Especially interesting on page 697, where he says that the true word of the Mason is found to be concealed and the profound meaning of the ineffable name of deity, and which meaning was lost by the very precautions taken to conceal it. The true pronunciation of this name, in truth, a secret, in which, however, is involved a far more profound secret of its meaning. In that meaning is included all the truth that can be known by us regarding the nature of God. Oh, that's interesting, too. So, yeah, I guess just a conspiracy theory that these spiritual supremacists who claim to know the, quote, secrets of God, the, quote, the secret of secrets, the arcanum arcanorum, I guess it's just a conspiracy theory that they would use that knowledge to benefit themselves and to abuse their power. Just like the ancient Pharisees did, just like the Pharaoh in Egypt did, just like all government organizations, just like the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, the NSA, the National Spying Agency, security, they're the security agency. So there we have it, Operation Tiberius, a 12-year-old report based on an in-depth investigation inside Scotland Yard, that's London's police department, found that the criminal Freemason gangs can infiltrate the Metropolitan Police Department, quote, at will. Oh, just a conspiracy theory, I'm sure. Yeah, just don't pay any attention to it. Hey, what's Miley Virus doing? Oh, the football game, the Super Bowl is coming up. Let's just pay attention to that. Let's not worry about a criminal gang of Illuminati Freemasons that are just ruining our planet. No, don't worry about that.
Moi, Pierre Avenel. Moi, Pierre Avenel. De ma propre et libre volonté. De ma propre et libre volonté. En présence de cette respectable assemblée de maçons. En présence de cette respectable assemblée de maçons. Je jure et promets solennellement. Je jure et promets solennellement. De ne jamais révéler aucun des mystères de la franc-maçonnerie qui vont m'être confiés. De ne jamais révéler aucun des mystères de la franc-maçonnerie qui vont m'être confiés.
Quelle idée saugrenue ton Maria-t-il de se faire recevoir franc-maçon? Je lui ai déconseillé tant que j'ai pu, mais tu sais comme il est entêté. Il va se trouver dans un milieu d'arrivistes si médiocre. On l'a pourtant bien prévenu, pourvu qu'il ne lui arrive rien. Il y a tant d'histoires qui courent sur le compte de ces sociétés secrètes. Ne t'inquiète pas, Pierre. Il saura se tirer d'un mauvais pas. Prudent. Pas assez.
Monsieur, le serment que vous venez de prêter ne vous donne-t-il aucune inquiétude? Consentez-vous à le renouveler lorsque vous aurez reçu la lumière? Je le renouvellerai. Mes frères, nous allons donner la lumière aux profanes. Frère couvreur, préparez-vous à accomplir votre office. Que la lumière lui soit donnée à mon 3e coup de maillet. Ces glaives que vous voyez tourner vers vous vous annoncent que tous les maçons voleront à votre secours si vous respectez et si vous observez nos lois. Mais ils vous annoncent aussi que si vous trahissez votre serment, vous n'échapperez pas à la vengeance de tous les frères répandus sur la surface du globe et qui ont juré de punir le parjure. Le jurez-vous, mes frères? Nous le jurons. Mes frères, à la santé de notre nouveau frère. À votre santé.
Mon très cher frère, qu'est-ce que vous pensez de cette soirée?
Eh bien, c'est curieux. Cette cérémonie est très impressionnante.
Mon cher frère, pourrais-je vous laisser ma carte au cas où vous auriez besoin de mes services? Je vends de tout. De la bonne tripe, des chaussures, du savon à des prix invraisemblables. Tu permets, mon cher Lévi-Stein? Je t'en prie. Mon frère Avenel, nous allons bientôt vous mettre à contribution. Oui, un de nos amis de notre loge voudrait un bureau de tabac. Le Grand Orient est submergé de monde en ce moment. Avec vous, ça ira peut-être un peu plus vite. Volontiers, je vous remercie. merci. Ah, dans quelque temps, je vous parlerai aussi d'une autre affaire. Depuis plusieurs années, j'ai droit à la Légion d'honneur. Je ne m'en suis jamais occupé, je n'ai pas dérangé comme ça 10%, on leur demande déjà tellement de choses, n'est-ce pas? Vous m'aiderez? À votre service. Merci beaucoup. Alors, au revoir. Ah non, pas comme ça. Voyez-vous, des petits coups secs avec le pouce, là, comme ça. Pam-pam, pam. Essayez. Pam-pam, pam. Et ben voilà. Avec ce signal-là, on ouvre toutes les portes.
Ne votez pas pour lui. Pourquoi? C'est un adversaire de la maçonnerie. Mais son projet est excellent. Qu'importe, il nous dessert. Vous n'avez pas l'air de mon ami. Non.
Non, non et non, je ne ferai pas ce que vous voulez. Je vous demande de vous conformer à la discipline républicaine. La discipline républicaine et maçonnique. Je sais ce que c'est, allez, c'est une canaillerie.
Mon frère, ne laissez pas vos paroles dépasser votre pensée.
Oh, ne croyez pas que je sois en colère, non, j'ai tout mon sang-froid au contraire. Et c'est pour ça que je ne voterai pas cette loi unique. Vous détruisez ce pays en l'empoisonnant doucement.
Ah, Blaise, vous ne parlez pas sérieusement.
Mais vous ne comprenez donc.
Vouloir régirer l'Europe définitivement.
Notre victoire est sûre.
C'est faux. C'est faux.
Silence. Ce que dit cet homme est faux.
Mon frère, je vous rappelle alors, vous n'avez pas la parole.
Je le sais. Je suis député et membre de la commission de la défense nationale. Je ne peux pas laisser se prolonger un discours aussi manifestement erroné. L'appréciation de monsieur...
De notre frère, Liechtenstein.
Oui, si vous voulez. Sur l'état de l'armée que possède l'Allemagne sont des mensonges. Et ajouter quoi serait la stupidité. Mais pourquoi vouloir une guerre entre l'Allemagne et la France?
Mon frère, vous n'avez pas la parole.
Peu m'importe. Mais je tiens à dire qu'aucun motif réel de conflit ne peut être invoqué.
Vous le direz tout à l'heure, après l'exposé de notre frère.
Non, je le dirai immédiatement, avant d'entendre des stupidités bellicistes. Mais vous tous, maçons, vous poussez à la guerre. Pour que ce pays soit gouverné par vos lois, par les Juifs, et la maçonnerie surtout. Le peuple français ne se battra pas pour défendre une idéologie fumeuse, un régime ignoble, une république pourrie.
Mon frère Abnel, je vous prie de couvrir le temple.
Vous êtes tous des menteurs et des faussaires. Tout chez vous n'est qu'une sinistre comédie.
Abnel, excusez-moi, comme vous, j'habite Neuilly, c'est pourquoi je me permets de vous rejoindre.
Oui, vous avez fort bien fait, monsieur.
J'étais près de vous à la clinique. Je voulais vous féliciter.
Oh, merci.
Vous avez très bien fait de leur crier des vérités. Ce sont des fous. Malheureusement, il est impossible de leur faire entendre raison.
Les événements sont pourtant indiscutables.
Oui, oui. Dites-moi, j'ai des documents confidentiels sur l'action actuelle de la maçonnerie qui peut-être vous intéresseraient.
Des documents?
Oui, oui, des documents. Vous êtes député, il serait utile et urgent que je vous les communique.
Mais je crois bien, où sont-ils?
Chez moi, pas très loin d'ici. Si vous avez quelques minutes.
Et volontiers, allons.
Alors, qu'est-ce qu'on décide? Pétard ou couteau?
Le couteau, ça fait moins de bruit.
Attention, le voilà.
Un instant, je vais voir si...
Ne t'inquiète pas, mon chéri. Tu guériras vite. Le docteur a dit maintenant que j'étais sauvée, à condition d'être sage.
Qu'est-ce qu'on entend?
C'est la mobilisation générale, mon chéri.
Quoi, la mobilisation?
Ne t'agite pas, je t'en supplie. Je n'aurais pas dû te le dire, mon Dieu. T'en fais pas, mon chéri. Tu reviendras vite.
Les brutes. Ils sont arrivés. Ils ont réussi à déclencher leur guerre.
Oh, ne bouge pas. Tes plaies sont à peine fermées.
Si j'étais pas tombé sous les coups de ces criminels, j'aurais peut-être pu arrêter ça.
Mais non, tu n'aurais rien pu empêcher, mon chéri. Ces hommes sont plus forts que toi. Ils ne t'auraient pas manqué.
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Les malheureux. S'ils savaient ce que je sais.
Mes frères, nous pouvons affirmer en toute sérénité que la franc-maçonnerie universelle a présentement atteint son but. Cette guerre qui est la nôtre est déclarée. Elle doit aboutir au triomphe de notre ordre. Il importe que le monde soit définitivement gouverné selon nos méthodes et par nos idées. Debout et alors. Frère premier surveillant, à quelle heure ferme-t-on les travaux?
À minuit, vénérable maître.
Quelle heure est-il, frère second surveillant?
Minuit, vénérable maître.
Puisqu'il est minuit et que nous avons accompli notre œuvre, je déclare les travaux clos. Allons, baillez. Retirons-nous en paix, mes frères, sous la loi du silence.
Now things are starting to make a little sense. Switch over to nano-communication so nobody can listen in.
Yes, sir. Do you read me, sir?
Yes.
Mr. President, it's my understanding that the terrorists have managed to input the code sequence necessary for launching a nuclear strike.
That's correct. I punched the sequence in myself.
You're working for them?
If you asked me 2 hours ago, my answer would have been yes. Right now, they're keeping me alive until my vital signs are reconfirmed.
They betrayed you?
I wouldn't quite put it that way. I wanted power. They sought destruction.
But why stoop to terrorism?
I wanted absolute power.
But you're the president. You have power.
No, I'm just a figurehead.
Huh?
I don't have any control. The real power is in the Patriots' hands.
The Patriots?
The truth behind this country. I'm not surprised you've never heard of them. Very few are aware of their existence, even among those with code word clearance.
Huh?
Politics, the military, the economy, they control it all. They even choose who becomes president. Putting it simply, the Patriots rule this country.
No.
Hard to believe, isn't it? But it's the truth. The space defense, income tax reduction, and national missile defense programs. Every policy that's been credited to me was actually done according to their instructions.
Space defense was initiated by Congress.
That's what the Patriots want the country to believe. It's all a show. Democracy is just a filler for textbooks. Think about it. Do you actually believe that public opinion influences the government?
No.
This country is shaped and controlled as the Patriots see fit. The people are shown what they want to believe. What you call government is actually a well-staged production aimed at satisfying the public.
Huh?
Don't look at me like that. I'm legally sane, you know.
It's not your sanity that worries me.
The Patriots. Even I don't know who the actual members are. Are they financial, political, or military leaders? No one knows who the Patriots really are. Even my instructions come from a cutout. All I've been told is that every key decision is made by a group of 12 men, known as the Wise Men's Committee.
Your office? The White House?
Merely puppets, pawns in a game. By pledging my loyalty, an insignificant son of a senator was awarded the presidency. Of course, that wasn't the only price I had to pay.
What do you mean?
Even if a pawn becomes a queen, it is still just a playing piece. I wanted to leave my own mark in history, but my ambitions were... You'll understand someday. I wished to be a member of the Patriots. I wanted to wield the power of a king instead of being an expendable pawn.
And that justifies acts of terrorism?
Yes. I'd intended to use the new Metal Gear as a bargaining chip.
Bargaining chip?
But I underestimated Solidus. He actually wants to challenge the Patriots, even if it means the destruction of the world.
What are you saying?
Whether you believe it or not, the balance of power rests in the hands of the Patriots. They regulate the country's various interests through controlled presentation, staging a drama that is palatable to the general masses. Can you imagine what would happen if they ceased to function? Picture a massive political vacuum, a space that every powermonger will try to fill for their own greedy ends. I'm talking about an unregulated power struggle, panic, civil war, chaos. Like it or not, the Patriots is an organization that must continue to exist.
So you changed your mind because you wanted to avoid global chaos.
Exactly. When I told Solidus that I wished to prevent disaster, he replied that pawns can never become players.
And who is this Solidus?
My predecessor, George Sears. That was the name the public came to know him by. I knew him by his code name, Solidus Snake. He was the third snake, preceded by Solid and Liquid, a survivor of the Les Enfants Terribles project. Neither solid nor liquid, he was a well-balanced masterpiece that the Patriots saw it fit to entrust with the presidency. However, he fell out of grace with the organization 4 years ago. When acting on his own, he started an incident.
4 years ago? Shadow Moses.
That's right. At the time, the DARPA chief, Donald Anderson, together with certain influential parties, initiated the development of Metal Gear Rex and an advanced nuclear warhead. However, this did not fall in line with the Patriots' plans. What's more, Solidus decided on his own to send his most trusted man, Ocelot, to provoke Liquid Snake, bringing about the said incident. As a result, he succeeded in obtaining Rex and the data on the warhead. But in doing so, he ended up revealing the existence of both Rex and the Genome Army, a blunder that earned him the wrath of the Patriots. Shortly thereafter, Solidus was removed from the presidential office.
I thought he resigned.
That's the story given to the general public. Following his resignation, the Patriots selected me, their new pawn, for the presidency.
But that would mean that the presidential race was...
That was quite a show, wasn't it? It was a well-scripted drama staged by the Patriots for the benefit of the public. Even the Democrats and Republicans were dancing to the Patriots' tune. Everything went according to plan, but for one exception. Following his resignation, Solidus' health was scheduled to fail him, bringing about his untimely death.
Capped?
Correct. But before the Patriots could execute their plot, Solidus went underground with the help of Ocelot. As he avoided pursuit, Solidus gained control of Dead Cell, winning over Colonel Golukovich's outfit. From there, he bided his time, knowing that his opportunity would soon arrive.
What opportunity?
The completion of the new Metal Gear project, an opportunity that would even his odds against the Patriots. By stealing the Patriots' most valued project, he would be able to place them in a very uncomfortable position. It's the only chance he has for survival. Once he has the new Metal Gear, he'll declare war against the Patriots. Needless to say, he must be stopped.
Metal Gear is already operational.
No, not yet. What you saw was Metal Gear Ray, hijacked 2 years ago from the Marines by Ocelot. That was not the new Metal Gear.
Then where's the new Metal Gear?
Right here.
What?
You're standing in it. To be more precise, this entire big shell facility is the new Metal Gear.
Would you say?
No, I'm quite serious. The upper structure that you've seen is camouflage, designed to represent an offshore cleanup facility. The main structure extends from the foundation all the way down to the ocean floor. The connecting elevator is located on the B2 floor of the Shell 1 core. Arsenal Gear. That's the code name for the new Metal Gear.
Arsenal?
That's right. Arsenal. We're talking about an impregnable fortress carrying a load of over a couple of thousand missiles, including nuclear warheads, all protected by a horde of mass-produced Metal Gear Ray units.
Mass-produced?
The Ray unit was originally designed for the Marines to be used as a countermeasure against the Metal Gear variations throughout the world. The Patriots had Ray redesigned to protect the new Arsenal Gear.
So now anti-Metal Gears are guarding a Metal Gear.
Ironic, isn't it? That's not all. Arsenal Gear has full access to the military's tactical network, giving it the ability to exercise absolute control over our nation's armed forces, not to mention our nuclear armament. In short, Arsenal was created to be the core of our country.
What kind of idiotic weapon?
Weapon? No. You're not seeing the full picture. Arsenal Gear is more than just a military tool. It is a means to preserve the world as it is. It will establish a new form of control. The Patriots will use it to keep their place as the country's true rulers. Right now, they feel pressured and threatened.
By what?
They fear an overabundance of digital information. The world will drown in the coming flood of information, and they along with it.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., in a 1968 speech where he reflects upon the civil rights movement, states, "In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends." As a teacher, I've internalized this message. Every day, all around us, we see the consequences of silence manifest themselves in the form of discrimination, violence, genocide, and war. In the classroom, I challenge my students to explore the silences in their own lives through poetry. We work together to fill those spaces, to recognize them, to name them, to understand that they don't have to be sources of shame. In an effort to create a culture within my classroom where students feel safe sharing the intimacies of their own silences, I have 4 core principles posted on the board that sits in the front of my class, which every student signs at the beginning of the year. Read critically, write consciously, speak clearly, tell your truth. I find myself thinking a lot about that last point, tell your truth. And I realized that if I was going to ask my students to speak up, I was going to have to tell my truth and be honest with them about the times where I failed to do so. So I'd tell them that growing up, as a kid in a Catholic family in New Orleans, during Lent, I was always taught that the most meaningful thing one could do was to give something up. Sacrifice something you typically indulge in to prove to God you understand His sanctity. I've given up soda, McDonald's, French fries, French kisses, and everything in between. But one year, I gave up speaking. Figured the most valuable thing I could sacrifice was my own voice, but it was like I hadn't realized that I had given that up a long time ago. I had spent so much of my life telling people the things they wanted to hear instead of the things they needed to, told myself I wasn't meant to be anyone's conscience because I still had to figure out being my own, so sometimes I just wouldn't say anything. appeasing ignorance with my silence, unaware that validation doesn't need words to endorse its existence. When Christian was beat up for being gay, I put my hands in my pocket and walked with my head down as if I didn't even notice. Couldn't use my locker for weeks because the bolt on the lock reminded me of the one I had put on my lips when the homeless man on the corner looked at me with eyes up, merely searching for an affirmation that he was worth seeing. I was more concerned with touching the screen of my Apple than actually feeding him one. When the woman at the fundraising gala said, "I'm so proud of you. It must be so hard teaching those poor, unintelligent kids," I bit my lip because apparently we needed her money more than my students needed their dignity. We spend so much time listening to the things people are saying that we rarely pay attention to the things they don't. Silence is the residue of fear. It is feeling your flaws gut-wrench guillotine your tongue. It is the air retreating from your chest because it doesn't feel safe in your lungs. Silence is Rwandan genocide. Silence is Katrina. It is what you hear when there aren't enough body bags left. It is the sound after the noose is already tied. It is charring. It is chains. It is privilege. It is pain. There is no time to pick your battles when your battles have already picked you. I will not let silence wrap itself around my indecision. I will tell Christian that he is a lion, a sanctuary of bravery and brilliance. I will ask that homeless man what his name is and how his day was, because sometimes all people want to be is human. I will tell that woman that my students can talk about transcendentalism like their last name was Thoreau, and just because you watch one episode of The Wire doesn't mean you know anything about my kids. So this year, instead of giving something up, I will live every day as if there were a microphone tucked under my tongue, a stage on the underside of my inhibition. Because who has to have a soapbox when all you've ever needed is your voice? Thank you.